What's up, guys? This Wednesday, March 30th, Greg and I are hosting Uncovered Final Fantasy 15. It's a live event at 7 p.m. Pacific that's going to reveal the release date of the game, finally, along with a whole bunch of cool stuff. It's all going to be streamed, so make sure you come support us live for all the news, excitement, and shenanigans. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 63, the first ever of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm your host, Tim Gettys, joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty, and now three-time award-winning Greg Miller. What is it? 3 times in 4 months?
3 times in 4 months.
3 times in 4 months. We achieve.
That's a really cool award.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
The game of the year has a Firewire port, and I think you might be able to use it as a real controller, which means mine sucks.
So you got to get on that next year, Greg. Figure it the fuck out.
Kevin, start making a game for me, will you? Thanks, Kev.
My good Lord. And of course, rounding us out, we have the coolest dudette. Can we call you dudette?
Sure.
You gonna roll
Like
with
the
that?
turtles.
Andrea Rene. Yeah.
Yay! Thanks for having me, guys.
This
I'm
is
so glad to be back.
Your thrice return?
I think it's my 3rd time,
Yeah. So you are now the reigning Thrice champion of the Kind of Funny Games cast. We're going to have a good show today. I'm
Kevin,
feeling
make her
really
a
good
trophy.
about this. Yeah, she
Make her a
deserves
trophy
it.
as well.
Yeah.
So we still have that second championship belt. You go make the worst Gamescast title you
I
can.
did bring you candy.
A lot of candy. She's very nice. She brought us a whole Easter basket, including a Batman.
Yep.
Kevin, can you get the Easter basket?
Oh, you're giving her the... Oh, there it is. You're the
man.
reigning Gamescast
You made that so
champion.
fast. Can you get the Easter basket? I want to show the
This
people.
is awesome.
Now that eventually will be needed for Monopoly streams as well.
So I'll
It'll
just
be
hold
a
it here for a minute.
No, now you got it the whole show. Now
whole
you're
show?
locked in. Sorry.
Yeah.
So should I put it on?
I don't
You're
think they do
probably
that.
the only person in this house that it fits, yes. You can see the gaff tape all around it as we tried to make it fit our lumpy bodies.
So what have you been up to, Andrew?
A lot, actually.
Good.
The last couple of months have been really crazy for me, which is really exciting. The biggest announcement I've made, or I should say the most recent announcement, is that's the Easter basket.
There it is. Batman's listing.
You guys haven't tried the Batman candy yet, though. Happy Easter.
Thank you.
Batman's leaning back.
The biggest announcement is...
I am the new host of Yahoo Esports. Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
It's been a very exciting opportunity for me to work with the awesome team at Yahoo Sports, who is heading up the esports division over there. Just working with a production team who's worked with the NFL, the NBA, NHL, all of the major leagues, and really seeing how they run their production for these huge live action sports events and how they're bringing that process to esports has been like very educational for me to see just how much goes on behind the scenes, and also meeting more of the players and meeting some of our in-depth experts that we have on staff, Travis Gafford and Dylan Walker and Taylor Cock, and we're hiring more people to kind of round out our coverage. So it's been really, really exciting.
So you're telling me there's people out there that talk about video games not in their spare bedroom?
Correct.
Oh my God.
One day.
One day. The dream is real. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Every week we get together, we talk about video games and all the things that we love, and then you get to see it over youtube.com/kindoffunnygames Monday through Thursday. There's a topic video day by day broken out, and then Friday you get the full video, you get the full MP3 either at that same place or on iTunes, any of your favorite podcast places. But wait, Greg,
Yeah.
what if they want it early? What can they do?
If only there was a service called patreon.com/kindoffunnygames to do that.
Yeah, if there was, which there is, you can go there, throw some money our way, and you get the show early and a bunch of other stuff if you want that stuff. So that's great. And another exciting news, Greg,
Yeah.
me and you,
Yeah.
we're about to announce some release dates.
Final Fantasy 15. Finally upon us.
Yeah, we are hosting the Final Fantasy 15 Uncovered event, which happens next week if you're listening to this as a Patreon user. This week, if you're watching it on YouTube,
Right.
it is Wednesday, March 30th, 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Right. From the Shrine Auditorium in
LA.
sunny Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah. It's really exciting. We're announcing the release date, a whole bunch of other stuff, perhaps. Who knows?
Maybe
We don't
there's
know
really
what we're doing.
maybe there are special guests. And when I say that, I don't just mean Andre the Black Nerd. I mean like people you've seen do things before in ways you would say they would never work with these yahoos.
Yeah,
Us
here they
being
are.
us, but here they
We're
are.
pretty Yahoo Yeah, hooligans is what they're referring to us these days. But yeah, it's very exciting. We get to host it. I am stoked. I want to know what the release date is.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this for like a bazillion years.
How excited are you?
I'm very excited.
February 2017.
Okay.
I would die.
I would 2019.
riot. I would riot even more. 2019. Get the fuck out of here.
Why even bother at this point?
I
Releasing
hate
it
you
at all?
so much, Colin.
Wait, before we go on, I had one more thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm also hosting for Gamer Next Door.
So here's the thing.
Yay!
You're gonna get your whole own topic. We're gonna talk about you.
So let's wait then.
So we're gonna wait on that.
Stop getting
Okay.
ahead of yourself
I'm
over
sorry.
here.
We're all
I'm
over the
just-
damn place.
I'm really hopped
Don't-
up on
don't
sugar
let-
now.
don't let
No, I
me-
appreciate it. I
I
appreciate
ate too
it.
many jelly beans.
And now Kevin's over here.
Going to
My
town on these
God.
Reese's.
So yeah, Greg. So we're doing that.
Yeah.
They can find. There's gonna be a live stream. So you can either. There's gonna be thousands of people there. I think it said something like 6,000, 7,000.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of best friends. I can't wait to see you all there. Then, if you're not at the event, you can watch it on Twitch and YouTube and all the places. Don't know the URL, but I'm sure it's somewhere. So figure it out.
Kevin's putting it right there.
Final Fantasy.
Don't say that because last time Kevin didn't put any of the links in.
I didn't send him, but you didn't remind me. It's a whole process.
When you
Anyway,
say there's a link on the screen, Kevin puts it in. When you say link in the description, then
Whose job
nothing
is
happens.
that? That's
But
not
in-
job. That's not Kevin's job.
in that video,
Well,
I
no,
told
he doesn't
Kevin
write to
remind
publish
me. He didn't.
information. We have a believe it or not, this isn't as well-oiled a machine as we let on sometimes.
Yeah, no.
And mainly
it's crazy.
we'll say things like, yeah, somebody should do that. And everybody goes, well, it's not my job. And then no
Yeah.
one does it.
Exactly.
Doing metadata is like
Ugh.
it's like the ultimate like intern work.
Yeah, it really is. But I like it so much, and I don't know why. I'm a sick fuck.
You're like, ooh, give me that SEO.
Yeah, I love SEO. It's my favorite. Anyways, okay, yeah. Final Fantasy XV Uncovered.com is, I think, the
Right, that's
website.
the-
It has
yeah.
all the information there, so you'll know everything. And by next week, you
No,
will know
like,
the release date.
Preview? You can't give us anything else?
We
besides
can't give shit.
nothing?
No.
If
There's a lot
only
of-
I could give hints as to who the special guests might be.
Oh, Greg. That's awesome. That would be cool if that were to happen. Anyways, topic one of the show is the NX. Who's excited?
Oh, X gonna give it to
I'm
you.
excited.
Sorry.
X gonna give it to you. But this isn't exciting news.
Now,
This is-
you've already gone on the record as
Yeah.
saying you are the biggest NX
I'm
fanboy.
not the biggest. I'm number one.
Okay, you're the number one NX
Yeah,
fanboy,
until
which means
someone
you have to like this.
Fights me for that. Yeah, that doesn't mean that. You know, you watch Batman v Superman doesn't mean you have to like it.
It's true.
But with
I did.
this is what I've been waiting for. Not happening, and it did. Where we see this controller, and we've seen this in like patent kind
Right.
of just diagrams and shit over the last couple months, where it's like Nintendo's had some patent, and then you see some stupid ass looking thing, and I'm like, all right, why is this Hey Arnold shaped controller going on? I'm not down for this. But I'm like, there's no way. There's no way Nintendo would do that. That's just
There's
too
1,000%
that's just
way.
too wrong. Too wrong.
I mean, you're talking about the people who made the Wiimote and the nunchuck.
That's true,
And
but
those
like
were super
that,
successful.
that made sense from them trying something different perspective. This is them supposed to not do something different. They're supposed to be getting back into the normal shit, you know? That's what we all want. That's what we all expect it, at least. Like, we're talking about this console handheld hybrid thing, and
Which
it's like
is so normal.
I mean, it is. That's pretty like easy to wrap your head around. This is like, why? Like, what? I don't even understand what the thought process.
What did you
would
think
be.
the handheld / controller would look like?
I don't know. It could be something more similar to.
Do you
look at
think it
this.
would be like a 3DS with like grips or something?
I thought it would have buttons.
Oh, you know that
think
Nintendo
that'd be
doesn't
a
believe in
cool-
buttons. Look at the huge critical and commercial success the Wii U gamepad was.
It has buttons, Greg.
I know, but
What?
it has a screen that everybody loves. That's what you really use. All the games using that touch screen.
I hate you so much.
And it was only one
Anyway.
touch. I hope this is only one touch as well.
Oh,
You have two control sticks and one big button you just tap on.
Oh man, I mean, this is really kind of disheartening to me because this looks bad. This
Do
is
you
the
have
sign
any
of-
hope?
for this controller? If
Yeah.
this is the controller, I have no hope.
Wow.
Yeah, no, this looks really
Because I feel like when the Wiimote did come around, like we were like, what the fuck is this? Da, da, da. But it was interesting, and I remember getting excited for it because it was something different. You just had too much different, I guess.
yeah, but this isn't something different. This is something that we already know we're not gonna like. Like the Wiimote, we've never experienced gaming that
Sure.
way. This, I've experienced touch gaming on my phone constantly. I've experienced trying to play real games on a phone, and it doesn't work out. You know, like even when there's like real games, like you play the old school Sonic games or whatever, or like any of the first person shooters that they come out with, or like the Final Fantasy games. Like you can play Final Fantasy 7 on your phone. It doesn't feel right.
What do you mean real games? Maybe that's a whole topic for another time, but I think games that are developed specifically for mobile devices work really well on the mobile platform. And Nintendo has shown that they are a leader in innovation in many different categories. So maybe they've made something that you just haven't thought about yet.
That's true, but these are the people that made the Wii U and that did all that stuff. So and the Wii, which didn't do that. You know, like that again. We were talking about VR a couple of weeks ago. Like,
Which didn't do what?
Nintendo never like kind of came through on the promise of what the Wiimote could do. Like,
What are you talking about?
Like what did it do?
Like 100 million units worldwide
Yeah,
didn't
but
come
that's
through on the
sales.
promise?
But we're talking about the games, though. We're talking about like
There were
the
some
real
amazing
games.
games on
there
the
were,
Wii.
and I loved the Wii. I personally love the Wii.
Yeah, it's
but,
interesting to hear you talk about it like this.
but I mean,
I mean, the Wii is garbage, but there were great games on it for sure.
Garbage.
well, okay, yeah, but what were the great games?
Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
I like Zack and Wiki a lot.
Twilight Princess.
Yeah, all games that didn't need.
I can't go
Wiimote.
down the Twilight Princess road.
We won't. Let's
No,
not.
but
no,
those
there
don't
are-
need the Wiimote.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I mean, I think the Wii was an awful system. And trust me, I was a Nintendo apologist for a very long time. We remember this when we first met, where I'd buy all my
Right.
third-party games even on Wii because I was like, it can't be this bad. But it was. We can't quantify, like, we can't really talk about the sales success of Wii being intrinsically linked to how good the console is, though. You know, that's just not the way it works. Otherwise, you know, a lot of albums that went platinum, 5 times or diamond or whatever, certified that are just garbage would mean that those are better than some of these records that go gold or silver. So I don't like, we talked about that this morning on Colin and Greg Live about Batman versus Superman, about everyone judging its merits based on how much money it makes. And I'm like, who cares how much money it makes? People are going to see it anyway. Is it good or is it bad? Mm-hmm. Nintendo makes unintuitive and shitty decisions, and they have since the N64. I mean, we talk a lot about, the things that they did pioneer that did make sense, the D-pad, shoulder buttons, rumble. I mean, these things did stick around, but then you had them making a console that was cartridge based when it was obviously a bad idea. Then you had them make a console with the little mini CDs and mini discs instead of using normal CDs that people, maybe put a DVD player in your thing to help push units. Then they made this motion control thing that wasn't very powerful. Then they made this console with a shitty Fisher-Price tablet. Then they made these handhelds with gimmicky 3D on them that were not powerful at all, that can't even run. I just was reading Hyrule Warriors 3DS reviews today about how bad it is and stuff like that. So it's like they have a history long ago of making great decisions and then more recently making shitty decisions. So seeing this controller, if it's real, and we don't know if it's real or not, isn't surprising to me, since they don't make good decisions.
I guess I forgot how much you hate Nintendo. I mean, I disagree with you wholeheartedly. I don't think they've made universally bad decisions. I think the 3DS has shown that was a very great decision. They've sold millions and millions of units of 3DS and hundreds of millions of units of software for that device, and we already talked about it.
I'm down with
Yeah.
the 3DS. He's against that shit.
The vast library.
You know.
Regarding the NX controller, I don't think it's real. I don't think it looks real. I don't think it looks like something that they would actually do. I think taking away the iconic D-pad, as you mentioned, is something that would be catastrophic for the gaming experience on a console that's meant to compete with PS4 and Xbox One. So, I mean, you have to remember, even if it is real, it's also just a prototype. So it's possible that they are going to be adding things into it. I remember seeing the very first prototype of the Steam controller and how different the final version of the controller was from the original prototype. Did you guys ever see the original prototype? I mean, I still am not a fan of the Steam controller. So, I mean, maybe Nintendo's trying to take a page from, Valve's book and say, let's do something completely different. Because the Steam controller is completely different than, what you get with the dual stick, controller that we get with the, PlayStation and Xbox.
So for you thinking it's not real, do you think it's just a mock-up somebody took off that patent to have a popular day on the internet?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it happens all the time in tech where, these leaks happen. Oh, it's real. I mean, it's very possible that there are certain things that are real. The patents are real, right? But it doesn't mean that just because they've patented something that they're actually making it. I mean, many tech companies patent things that they never make. Like they never actually put into production. They only have prototypes of.
Yeah. And reading through the NeoGAF thread today, like obviously, like these are the type of perfect conspiracy theory, just like flame bait, where people are just going to jump on it and just kind of come up with a bunch of stuff. And then everyone has their opinion on it. And then that opinion kind of just becomes, just more cannon fodder to the whole thing. And it's interesting to look at like the facts are there was a patent that came out, right? And then the last couple, that was back in, I want to say November. Like it was a while ago. And then over the last couple, like the last month, we've seen this image, like this controller kind of come up in a couple different images in different ways. Like there was the one that we saw that it looked like there was actually gameplay on it. And that was the one that I'm like, ooh, like there's no way this can be real because this looks so bad, where the gameplay takes up the whole football shape, and so then your thumbs would be blocking it. It's like, how does that even make sense? You know, like for games to be designed that way, it's like, so is it supposed to be this with the TV? But then if it's just portable, how does that work? And again, they'd explain all that stuff over time. But when I saw that image, I'm like, this is definitely someone photoshopped this. This is fake. Then today, when we see these new ones, I'm like, that looks exactly like that. So it's either people that are just making really convincing fake things, or it's real. And so then I got a couple tweets here from Andy McNamara from over at Game Informer. He said, I heard the NX wouldn't have face buttons, so the leaked pictures match what he was told, but unable to confirm. And he's not saying the pictures are real, but saying that the match information he had.
Sure.
So it's like, there's the patent, and then there's also all these like industry people talking about all this shit. And it's like, the fact that it all kind of adds up is what worries me the most. And then the biggest thing is the internet doing its sleuthing. And the image that was out today, the trees, man, where for people that don't know, there's this image where you can see the MacBook, and it's the Swedish MacBook, and people looked up all the Swedish developers and found massive games and found a window with a tree outside of it, and the reflection on the controller matches the tree outside. And it's like, it's pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Like it's a little much. I don't know that you know, I don't know that this is real or not. I err on the side that it probably is. Just being involved even in knowing a lot of things about PS4 specifically before anyone really knew anything about it, and how those pictures started to leak, and you're like, oh shit, like the things you hear are true. Mm-hmm. So I don't discount it. I also want to be clear that I don't hate Nintendo. I just find them funny. Like I think GBA and DS were good decisions that they made, and you wouldn't have found any bigger Nintendo apologist than me during the N64 and GameCube eras, but I'm just not going to apologize for their decisions anymore. They make laughable decisions, and so
they make good games though. That's really
they do make good games
matters.
Sometimes. I mean, they're making fewer good games now than they ever did, and I think that you know, like Star Fox, for instance, looks like it might be running on a
jury's out.
Might be running on GameCube. So to me, it's just that's why it's like an intuitive thing to be like, yeah, of course they're going to do something strange, because why wouldn't they? But they also don't want to compete with PS4 and Xbox One, and maybe they shouldn't. They're like in a space, but they're in the space between, which is an awkward place to be. I mean, Dreamcast was in that place, for instance, and it wasn't a good place. So I don't know. I think that I don't know if it's real or not. McNamara saying, who is very well connected, saying that he's hearing things that are congruent with that controller. Other people saying the same thing, but then other people saying that it's not real. I don't know who to believe or what to believe, but since the patents exist, it would really be quite the long con to make something like this and then tease people with it. It's possible. You would have to really know what you're doing to put something like that together, and I don't think that that's true either. So I don't know. These things are eventually going to leak, just like the Orbis controller leaked and it was real. So I don't know. I'm interested and I'm excited to see it. The big question that someone posed on Twitter, which a lot of people, it was Chris Kohler actually said, and we talked about this on Colin and Greg Live today, is this the whole thing? Mm-hmm. And that was the interesting thing I hadn't thought about, which was is like, since it's supposed to be a hybrid, is this like all that they're going to release? Is this a little thing? And then maybe there's a set top, set box, you know, like a receiver. So I'm sorry, I really should call it for the unit that can be played on TV or whatever. I don't know. Assuming it's real, then we have bigger questions about like what the entire unit is or whatever. But I don't know. It doesn't look fake to me, but who the hell really knows? The rest of the information along with the images on the Reddit post were only the upper nubs of the sticks move. The bottom section is static, similar to the circle pad on the 3DS. So that's great news. Rollers on top resemble the mouse scroll wheel. So I guess on the top there's like...
Yeah, you can see them. They look like shoulder buttons.
Yeah. And then feedback similar to Apple's taptic feedback, which I guess that's cool. And then,
scary, man.
Just a normal headphone jack on the device itself, which, you know, kind of leads to that's good. That's modern bullshit. So
I think it's like simultaneously exciting that they're doing something different, and also all I can think of is I don't want to learn how to play something new.
Right.
It took me so long to master dual sticks and the current, you know, controller layout that we have now, that the idea of trying to learn something new just does not sound appealing to me. Maybe I'm just lazy.
No, I think it's real. I think it's fascinating. I'm more interested in the NX the closer we get to it, because when we started talking about it, even when there was the rumor, right, that it was going to be the handheld version is what would hit, and then the next year we'd get the console version or whatever the hell you want to call it. I still think it is this split thing. I think it is maybe not all of it, but that is the thing that you take with you on the road and you pop in your bag and you put out and you play on the plane and then you get home and you beam it to your TV. That's interesting, and I think it sticks with. We always talk about the Nintendo we know, or for each one of us, right? This sticks with the Nintendo I know, and the Nintendo I know is a brilliant toy company. They make toys. They make a couple great games. They do a lot of great game stuff, but they are putting out toys for people, and I don't mean that. That is not me taking a jab at them. I'm saying that they take chances on Waggle, on the pad, on these different things, and they want you to experience their toys in a very specific way, a very interesting way. And I'm interested to see what they do. I still stand by that. Just like with the Wii U and just like with the Wii, they started deviating because they can't compete with Xbox and PlayStation on what they're doing, let alone PC. And this of course, though, falls into the same trap that Colin's always talking about, where my argument becomes that this toy manufacturer, they're putting out this toy, they're going to still have awesome Mario, Zelda, Metroid games for it. But then where's the third party? And then the argument becomes, well, Nintendo fans will support it if it has great Nintendo games, but then we look at the Wii U sales, and that's not what it is.
Well, the interesting good news is if that sleuthing with the tree is real or not. It's so ridiculous that I can't believe that that's real.
I mean, but that's the thing is, like, the internet is not new. It's not a baby. So it's like people have been through these kind of like leaked things and trying to prove them wrong or right for years at this point. And I've seen it time and time again that if something's fake, it's most likely going to get shut down pretty instantly. People doing like Photoshop, like file things of seeing how many times the image was resaved and like all these weird like metadata stuff to figure it out. And they're like, these images look legit. They look clean, which is
It's like CSI over there.
And that's crazy.
Well, what I was going to say was that assuming it's real and assuming that tree is really outside of Massive, that's a Ubisoft studio. So that answers your question about third-party support. Third parties are clearly making games for it. Like what
for now?
Well,
yeah. So
I think that's jumping the gun. Ubisoft has been like the one standalone third-party partner that has been consistently with Nintendo through all of the iterations of their consoles. Like,
wait till you get your Rabbids.
We haven't seen really any other major publisher sticking by Nintendo, especially through the Wii U era.
Well, Square Enix said they will make things for it too. Dragon Quest, for instance, is going to be on it. But yeah, you're right. We'll see. I mean, EA, for instance, doesn't seem like it's going to be super interested in it. They weren't very super interested in my armors. Yeah. They weren't super interested in Wii U. I don't know. I think if someone was like $10 bet, is it real or it's not? I'm like, yeah, that's real. So my problem with it, when we were talking about it again on Colin and Greg, was it's really small. Like if you, and it looks like it could be comfortable to hold. The question I have is, it looks like, this is what I was looking at, and I can't really tell, like, does it have shoulder buttons at all?
Well, it has
the
like
wheel
these,
things.
Wheel things.
Yeah, so
It looks like the size of a Vita, doesn't it?
yeah, but it has, see, the problem with it is that since you are right, the overlay of the analog sticks with the screens, like it would have been more interesting to, like I said, to go to the widest part and then draw perpendicular lines out and make a box.
I mean, yeah,
because I just don't understand like why you wouldn't want to have more screen. If the idea was to make a portable that was contingent on playing on TV, if you want, then you would want it to be bigger. It looks like the Vita would, it looks like it would fit on top of the Vita, but it looks like it's missing some screen or whatever. But it looks like it could be wider too. So I don't know. This is very similar to the argument about PS4 and Xbox One were revealed, and everyone's like, the Xbox One is small. I'm like, the Xbox One looks like huge compared to the PS4, but no one could really tell until people finally got them both and put them on top of each other. So
yeah, I think
until we saw them in person.
The shape of it is the thing that throws me off and just turns me off the most.
The oval?
Yeah, because
Football head.
we're just not used to that, and I mean, we're not used to that for a reason. Like movies, TV, there's a widescreen format. 16:9 is a thing, especially with video games. Like there's no advantage to having it be an oval shape. Like I can't even wrap my head around thinking, and again, it's not my job to do that. It is their job. But, I can look at the gamepad and be like, okay, I can imagine things that I'd want to do on this. Or even with the Wiimote and stuff, you can imagine wanting to do archery and like swords and stuff. With this, it's like, well, I would rather a rectangle, and I'd rather not block it.
It's probably more comfortable to hold long term in that shape than a square shape.
Yeah, you figure you're even right. This
you don't
is
have
rounded
right,
on
you don't
that
have the
naturally, like
corners
how
on both sides.
your fingers are rounded.
Yeah, it's rounded, so it'd fit better.
I'm scrolling
Well, I
up
get
here.
that, but I mean,
I'm looking at my news. I'm
make it
going
like
to
the
Wii
Vita
Weather.
then. Make it like the
Wii
gamepad, where it's like the screen is still rectangle.
I don't get it either. I don't understand I have to keep qualifying, assuming it's real. I don't know. I just don't understand why the entire service also has to be the screen. Like I don't quite understand that design.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
I guess it's cool, but like I see. I want to have, and I did have an open mind about NX because I assumed that, and I still do, I guess, because we don't know what it is, that it could be something kind of revolutionary in the sense that maybe they really do understand the console handheld hybrid. And handhelds, I think, really are more at their heritage of what they do right now than their console stuff. But like, I fear not having real buttons on it. Like, I think that I don't know. This seems to be like the half step towards a phone. It's not a phone, but like in terms, like I don't want to play games on a phone. I don't like touchscreen games typically, and I just, how is it all going to work? It seems like it's going to be cluttered. Mm-hmm. I guess is what I'm saying. Like where, I don't know. Like I just don't get it.
I mean, that's the other thing. Like, imagine where would a button be on that? Where's a jump?
Well, imagine if a Nintendo takes their new mobile division and puts the majority, if not all of their resources into only making mobile games, because that's where the money's at. I mean, look at, some of the other Japanese companies are doing the same thing. Konami is kind of getting out of like the AAA, space in favor of mobile stuff. So I think that that's something to consider. Like maybe this is intended to be like a mobile device, that they're not going to be doing these AAA console games anymore, that they're going to really focus on this, generation that takes their phones with them everywhere.
But why make a device then? Yeah. That's the biggest question to me is like, swallow your pride and just use the phones that use iPhone and Android.
Existing platforms.
They need to I'm not even saying Xbox One and PS4, which would be awesome, but if you're going to make phone games, which they already are with DNA, then why make a platform? This is the biggest thing. I just feel like they are struggling for ideas, man. Like I like, if this hardware is real, again, I just feel like, just get out. Like I don't know. I feel like they're genetically, they make games. They've never really made great hardware. Like the hardware ran great games, and so we loved it. Like the NES is still my favorite console of all time because of the library. But it was a weak console compared to its competition, and it stuck around for a really long time.
Kevin,
I just wonder why they don't.
Can you grab me the Wii U gamepad?
I just wonder why they don't just swallow their pride and make shit tons of money putting games on other platforms exclusively. Like, what's the big deal?
Because you can see it. You can see the E3 press conference. Ladies and gentlemen, the NX isn't your next console. It's the next experience. Lights off, X's all over the place.
X's all over the place.
So here's the deal. Looking at this, if I was to take this,
there is a gamepad in that
theoretical controller, and I was to rotate it over and put it there, it looks like the screen is about the width, or length, I guess, right? The length here of the side of the controller. Maybe a little bit bigger, right? If I was to swing it over that, and then you figure, so what you're dealing with then is two sticks on the sides here, like that. And that's about how big it would be. Now, theoretically, that way, that screen's not that, like, no. So stick with me here, because what I'm thinking about, like, what about a traditional game, right? What you would then, I would think, looking at these, be easy enough to draw lines down, black out the sides of it, and you'd have the widescreen game. Not everything maybe looks like this, where it's taking up the whole screen. So suddenly you have a screen that wide, sticks over here, and then maybe a button on this, like, offset, kind of like this, right? So that's the stick, and then there's a button here. So I'm up here and I can go down there to hit whatever I'm playing with. Again, it's touchscreen gaming, but that's where you put your virtual buttons. That's how you play a game that's more traditional and the view you want of it. But even that screen, less than the plus, and you have a plus 2.
I don't know, man. What I'm curious about is like
that screen would be about as it would be that screen size, even with the sticks on the side of it. It's about as wide as the iPhone 6.
It's small. I don't know. I'm more curious to see like what the Nintendo faithful really think about this, and I haven't actually looked too much into it yet. Like I've been reading the NeoGAF thread.
I mean,
everyone seems super down on it.
Yeah, I mean, even the hardcore people that I've seen, they all are like, "What the fuck is this?" And I mean, that's me. Like I don't want this. Like I can't even.
Maybe we do want it. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like I don't know. Like
remember when we didn't want PlayStation Move?
Yes, I do remember.
This is just.
It's like let's see how powerful it is. Let's see what the games that it can be played. Let's see how the controls work. We'll find out soon. I mean, this isn't going to force their hand. They have their plan. They're going to stick to it, and it's probably going to be E3.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's
Nintendoing. This is what they do, guys. Stop trying to believe in your 8-bit Nintendo, your 16-bit Nintendo. They are gone.
No, but so here's my thing though. I still love the Wii U games. Like Wii U games
You're still gonna get those games.
But that's the thing is I don't know if I am with this.
You're buying that thing. You're gonna get those.
I'm not
games.
saying I'm not gonna buy
Well, they
it.
came forward and said that they're not ending production of the Wii U, as was rumored earlier this week. And they're like, no, that's false. Why would we do that? So you're still going to get Wii U games. I mean,
Oh, he means
I'm
Wii U
talking
caliber
about
games on
caliber,
the
like
NX.
the Nintendo first party
you mean
games.
like the next generation of
Smash.
whatever the Wii
I also
is.
don't believe them. Like that's the other thing. Considering the
You think
source.
they would blatantly lie about
Well,
it?
Kotaku made a good point that Nikkei like always gets their Nintendo rumors right. Like, why would this be any different? They have to say something because otherwise people are going to be like, well, you're just
Why would I buy
gonna. It's
this
over
thing?
now. Like
Yeah.
already. Like, why would I even invest any money in buying this? Why would I buy any of the games? Like, they have to say something. To them, I don't know. Like the source seemed compelling. If that came from some random forum in Japan or whatever, I'd be like, okay. But like Nikkei like leaks all sorts of shit about Nintendo, and it's right. So like this seems to be a weird one that they got wrong. I don't think they're outright lying. I think like maybe
You're lying.
maybe they're still saying, well, we're still going to produce it for a little while, and but I bet
like
you
the
they still.
timing is different. Well, I mean, we all know it's going to end eventually, but
3 years
Yeah.
seems to be pretty a little over 3 years, I guess, is like
quick.
quick.
That's
So
all it's been since the Wii U's been out.
it's 2012, right? Fall
Jesus
2012.
Christ.
So yeah, fall 2012. That's when it
Okay.
came out. So it was before PS4 and Xbox One were even announced. I just think that they have to get that thing out of the way, and they probably are sitting on a lot of stock too. I mean, the thing hasn't been selling very well, so it's not like stupid business wise for them on the back end to say like just stop. But I don't think they can like let the consumer know. Otherwise, like there's still big games coming out, so it would be disastrous for them, I think, to say that. But I think that they know that they're kind of left with a lagging piece of hardware, and they have to do something with it. What I'm more curious about with this is like, again, is this like the first image is plugged into something? It's probably plugged into a dev kit. And there's a black box that's like overlaid over something, right? Like we can all agree on that. Like someone's
Well,
blocked.
this is an older image.
No, that I know. I mean, that's an image I saw a while ago.
That is an overlay.
So I don't know. I this kind of shit annoys me. Like whenever I see leaks like this, because then it just develops like a million questions about it that I don't have answers to because I don't have any connections.
There's always
like
when I
that
wish I could
with
time
Nintendo.
travel. Just jump ahead, see what's up,
Yeah.
come back, do Let's Plays for all these games, have them banked.
Well,
We'll see. I'm sorry that people expect me to be pessimistic about it, but I'm sorry to hear that a lot of the Nintendo fans are pessimistic about it. I thought that they would be
I mean,
a little more optimistic.
No,
I'm
because you
very
understand they've all
pessimistic
tricked
about
themselves,
this.
Colin. This was the return to a real controller and a box more powerful than the PlayStation 4, and all the real games would be ported to it, and it would be the one device to rule them all.
I don't even need all of
And
that.
now
Just
you're
give
all
me one
waking
of
up
those
to
bullet
what
points.
Nintendo is.
I think it's smart of them not to try to do that. I think
I
to
agree.
try to compete against PS4 and Xbox One now is just, it's suicide. Like, you're never going to catch up.
I agree that this is the chance where you roll the dice. You're like, all right, we're this is what this thing's going to be. We see the rise in mobile gaming. We're going to embrace that. It goes everywhere. One game is always with you. It's not like, when Vita would play the Madden game, you're like, oh, this is terrible. And, why can't even the show taking your saves back and forth? This is the device. And if it doesn't work out, we will finally give up and make everything for third-party,
I feel like the Wii U was that chance for them. And,
The Wii U, I think, was a inflated self of sense based on Wii. It was the Wii was the most successful thing of all time. Clearly, we can do. That's what people want. Or that's what our audience wants. And they forgot that their audience was my mom, who bought it and has it as like a cool party thing when she has a barbecue. People end up bowling or doing something on there, but they're not. There's not an attach rate to that. There isn't my mom being motivated to buy a Wii U. They got tricked, I think, with causation and correlation there on what was going to happen this next time around.
for
Yeah.
sure.
so topic 2 of the day is the one and only Andrea Renee. I want to know, who are you? How did you get here? What is your story and what do you do now?
I can't believe we haven't talked about this before.
You always come on. It's because I don't think you've ever been, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong because you remember more. You always come on and help us out. We bring you as an expert to talk about a topic, or you're filling in for somebody. This one's like you're the guest. This is where we
How
give
exciting.
you the full
Yeah.
treatment. Kevin Rubber Feet.
No,
No, don't do it, Kevin. Sorry.
That's not
No.
necessary. I have my sneakers on. So I come from Fargo, North Dakota. That's where I'm from originally. Yes, like the acclaimed TV series and movie.
Is that accurate? Is that an accurate depiction of your hometown?
Well, no, because almost all of it's set in Minnesota.
Fucking
but Fargo
bastards.
is a much flashier name than like Brainerd or Bemidji.
St. Paul.
Yeah.
Kind of into Midgie. Midgie's cool.
So I'm from the upper Midwest, and I always knew I wanted to do something on TV. I went to school for journalism. I fell in love with the idea of being a journalist when I watched Channel 1 in middle school. Did you
I
guys ever
remember
watch Channel 1?
I know Channel 1.
No.
We had it
Still
in high
laying in
school.
her early days. So that was when I was like inspired to like do something on camera.
What
and
is Channel 1?
Channel 1 is it was a news program that aired in
Like
school
homeroom.
systems. Yeah, like in the morning for kids so that they could be caught up on world events. But it was approachable and it wasn't like super jargony, and
It wasn't about stocks and murders and something
Right.
horrible. It was like, here's this pig farmer and
news.
he's done something cool.
It wasn't all like fluff news though. Like
I'm not-
they talked about
yeah, no, no.
international
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah. So then I went to journalism school at the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis, and after that, in my senior year, I knew that I wanted to not go the investigative route. I was like, even though my dreams of being Lisa Ling were strong, I was like, I don't think I've got the stuff to do what she does. I was like, I really like celebrities and movies and TV. This sounds fun. Let's go into entertainment news. So I moved to Los Angeles and started my career trying to be on red carpets and
So
do
did you move there,
junkets.
no job? You just moved out?
No job.
Oh my gosh. What did you do for money?
So I did a pit stop between graduating college in Phoenix, where my mom was living, and worked full-time 2 jobs for 6 months just to bank money. And then I left to go to LA. But when I got to LA, I did the very stereotypical thing that a lot of people in the entertainment business do. I got a bartending job. I was waiting tables at night, going to auditions, taking meetings during the day, until finally I was able to book my first gig. My first big hosting job, I say big in quotations, was working for a company at the time called Music Plus TV. They were one of the first like live streaming music video channels on the internet in 2007. They eventually changed their name to Vlaze after they got into a lawsuit with Viacom about Music Plus TV, MTV. A little similar. But what I did is every morning at 8 a.m., I would stream for an hour and I would do news. Local news, national news, international news, entertainment news. And then in between the news segments, we would play music videos. And that was essentially like my first paid hosting job way back when. I got paid $25 a day to do that show.
Yeah.
I was super excited about it. I was like, yeah, my first job. But coming out of college, like you kind of have to take any opportunity you can, which is why I had to have like 5 jobs at one point in Los Angeles to pay rent and buy gas and things like that. So after that, I knew that I really wanted to go the hosting route and not really do journalism, which is why when people ask me like, oh, do you call yourself a journalist? I always say, no, I call myself an on-camera presenter or a reporter, because I don't think what I do really qualifies as journalism, because it's very much like fluff news. It's entertainment news. It's not stuff that's going to impact your life in a really crazy way. At least in my opinion, it doesn't. I got into games specifically the summer of 2008. It was a really rough time in LA. It was right after the writer's strike. A lot of people in Hollywood were out of work. So trying to get jobs in the entertainment field was impossible, because you have like really big name people who are trying to get work, who are taking jobs for a lot less money. So for a startup like myself, it was impossible to get a foot in the door anywhere. And, I had never thought about working in games. I'm sure you guys had that same realization at some point. You're like, I just like playing games in my spare time. I don't think about like a career in games, which is so much different than today, almost a decade later, not to date myself. But I saw an ad on Craigslist for a reporter for E3. And as a gamer, I was like, oh my gosh, the opportunity to go to E3, like, this is intense. I really, really want this job. And he was like, well, I can't pay you, but I can get you into E3. And I was like, sold. I'm in. So I submitted my reel and my resume. Okay. And I got hired by Torrance Davis, this guy who ran a site called thebitbag.com, which sadly no longer exists. But that was my very first video games job, covering E3 in 2008. And that was the weird year that it was like in Ketch Hall, like in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
The main halls, the South and the West Hall, weren't open. It was like mini booths. So it was a little different, but I was hooked. Like after that incident, I was like, how do I
make this a thing?
Only work in games, because I just have loved doing it for so long. So after that, I kind of took random odd jobs here and there, hosting for a variety of different shows. I did like a travel show. I did an internet dating game show. I did this weird like foodie show where we would go to new restaurants and like interview chefs. And you can't really find any of this online, because I don't even think it's posted anywhere.
YouTube, that'll never take off.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the first job that really kind of led me into a full-time career in games was when I was hosting This Week in Video Games with Lon Harris and Jessica Villarreal. And you guys may know Jess, she's still working in games today. And I really like that was the moment, that kind of like pivotal moment in my career where I was like, I can do this full time. I can find a company and keep working. And I started producing full time for thisweekend.com. And that's when I also started working for Mahalo Video Games. And Mahalo was one of the first walkthrough channels on YouTube, way back before it exploded into the scene that it is today. And they had an army of predators, the producer editors, creating
not Nick.
walkthrough videos. Not Nick. No.
Producer/seducer out there.
No, I just meant
I mean,
predator.
we had a team of like 20 to 30 guys working around the clock doing walkthroughs for every game imaginable. Mahalo's library is intense, and that's where I met Jovenshire, Sohinki, Lasercorn, Flitz, all the guys at Smosh Games. So we all worked together there, and that's when I met them, and eventually was able to continue working with them when I left Mahalo and This Weekend to go start Clever Games for Clever Media, which is now part of Defy Media. It used to be part of Alloy Digital, that crazy
lot going on there.
Yeah, the business mashup that happened with those companies. So
Weren't you at Machinima?
yeah, haven't got there yet.
Oh, okay. I thought
I didn't
that's
know,
interesting. Okay.
continues.
I didn't know like how in depth you wanted me to go.
Gotcha. I mean, hey, I'm just keep going.
So after I left Clever Games, I went to Machinima. So I had started Clever Games, but I was having trouble there because I essentially started an editorial outlet by myself, and I had no idea the challenges that were going to be in store for me. I found out about Metacritic and how important being on Metacritic is, because guess what? PR companies don't care about you if you're not on Metacritic. And this was before like the word influencer ever existed. So it was about forming relationships, being able to get review copies for games, being invited to these preview events, being invited to E3 appointments, things like that. Like that was a huge learning experience for me. And I think I was just a little overwhelmed kind of doing it by myself.
Yeah.
And so when the opportunity arose, when, I had met some people working at Machinima and they were like, we'd really love for you to come and work with us. Machinima at the time, like 2011, that's when they were like the top dog of the video game, digital media business. I was like, yes, let's do it. I was super excited about it. And I joined them and learned so much about like the back end business of YouTube video creation. I got to work with some really amazing directors creating content for the Machinima home channel. People like Manslayer, who's famous for Machinima series like Gamer Poop, which if you guys have never seen it, it's hysterical. He's like a wizard at editing. And people like JT Machinima, who do like music videos using Machinima and in-game music. So like a whole slew of like really creative people doing more like high level programming, like creative director kind of work, which was different than what I was doing. And I really missed like interviewing devs and being on camera. And so I eventually left Machinima to go back to work with the staff that I knew at Clever Games.
Gotcha. Now it's coming together.
And that's when I started working for The Escapist. So I left Machinima to go work with now Defy Media. And well, at the time it was Alloy Digital, and then they merged with Break Media to become Defy. And I started working for The Escapist and got to work with guys like Jim Sterling and Yahtzee and a whole bunch of really talented people over there doing Escapist News Now. And then I started running Smosh Games. I was the senior producer managing all of their production on a day-to-day basis. And let me tell you, those guys are unruly. They're really fun and they're really talented, but it was just so much going on. And so eventually they had to hire somebody to that was their one job, because I was trying to do 3 jobs at the same time and I was like, I can't do it. So they hired a really talented guy named Matt Robb, who is now running Smosh Games with those guys. And that's when Defy Media made a strategic partnership with Viacom to buy Game Trailers. And when Game Trailers came on board, I went to my SVP and was like, please, 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 can I work with Game Trailers? I love the team there. Like, I respect everything they do. I would love to be on board. Had some great meetings with Brandon Jones and said, can we do something together? He was like, yeah, let's work together. And then I started working with Game Trailers. So that's, I think, about the time when I met you.
Well, we all met at VidCon when you were with Machinima.
Right. So that was 2012, I think.
Yeah, because it was the first year when
Our first VidCon?
IGN was doing Start.
Yeah.
So they sent us down there and we were just kind of like, it was really just networking. And that's when we met you and we're like, we had breakfast. at that hotel breakfast
Hilton.
spot.
Yeah.
And that was really one of those like the first kind of opening experiences for us getting into the YouTube space because we didn't really know anybody. So you being at Machinima was kind of like us finally leaving the IGN GameSpot, kind
Bubble.
of like bubble and moving more towards the YouTube side of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole like set of strategies that you employ when you're talking about making content for a .com and like this really proprietary audience and the things you need to consider when you're making content on YouTube when you have no control over how any of the back end of the platform works, what their algorithms are, and how often they change the algorithm, what their priority for SEO is, how important the first like 4 words of the title can be to your success, like the technique to making thumbnails, things like that a lot of new creators have like no idea how to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're on a website, none of that matters because you dictate exactly what the design aesthetic and how, your flow of content works.
Yeah.
So then eventually I moved to San Francisco. I was working with game trailers and it was the fall of 2014. And I decided, to take my relationship to the next level and move in with John Drake here in San Francisco.
Never heard of him.
He got this great job at PlayStation, left Harmonix. And that's when I went to my boss at Game Trailers and said, hey, like I would love to keep working with you. Can we figure out a way to do that? And I was working freelance with them for a time. And then some things, started changing there. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall as happens with a lot of video game outlets these days, very sadly. And so I told Brandon, I was like, hey, I know you guys are kind of strapped for resources. I'm going to pursue some other things, and, wish you guys the best of luck. And now today I'm a 100% freelance independent contractor. I'm doing some really cool things, working with a bunch of people, working with GameStop. It'll be my 2-year anniversary working with GameStop in May, which I'm excited about. I know a lot of people have misconceptions or preconceived notions of who they are, but I just want to say for the record, they are wonderful. Everyone I've ever worked with at GameStop, whether it's managers that I've met or producers on their team or even the executives are really just fantastic people. So if you think they're evil, they're not. They're really great.
The stuff you do with them is you're on the
In
TVs.
store.
Yeah, we go in store. So if you've heard the voice at GameStop, it is her.
Yeah, what's exciting about that is that we're taking a new direction. This year, we're moving away from some of the more like what I call kind of stiff marketing copy. And I'm going to be involved with a lot of the writing there now,
cool.
which is really awesome. So we're going to make it more editorial focused, more like a preview, really kind of give gamers a sense of the game that they're playing instead of just kind of like blanket, like pre-order this and get this. We really want gamers to feel excited about the game and really know like, hey, these are the new features. If you're excited about, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, let me tell you what kind of gameplay you're going to get. If you liked Mirror's Edge, like, kind of really telling gamers about the game instead of just, making it super vanilla, which is something I'm super pumped for. And then, of course, Gamer Next Door, we already talked about Yahoo. So
what's Gamer Next Door?
So I originally, talked to Playboy like 6 to 12 months ago at this point about doing something with them. We couldn't quite figure it out because they were in this transition, as most people know now, they are going non-nude. They were like, hey, the internet's a thing. Boobs are a quick Google search away. So they really kind of made a shift in saying like, hey, we want to go more towards editorial. I mean, the running joke about Playboy was always, oh, I read it for the articles, but the reality
really
was
good.
The articles are really good. And so they said, well, we're known for our editorial. Let's expand it. And so I, talked to the team there and they were like, hey, you do video game stuff. Do you want to do video game stuff with us? And I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Pam and Amelia and Mike over there are really great. And I love working with them. And so I get to do my weekly news show.
Awesome.
From my home studio, which is fun. I love being able to have control over the topics I get to pick and being able to interact with people on Twitter for our Tweet of the Week segment, which, by the way, if you guys ever have like memes or gameplay clips or videos and you want them to, be on the show, you can tweet to me at Andrea Renee. But so that's been really cool. And then, of course, Yahoo's been awesome. So I'm just really like, it's kind of like all come into fruition for me.
That sounds like a lot. Sounds like you're doing a lot now.
That's my question.
So it's really frustrating for me sometimes when people are like, oh, she doesn't know games. She's never been in games. And I'm like, well, actually.
So the question I have for you is, I think you have a different perspective than a lot of the guests we've had on, right? And definitely different than us, right? Because it's always like, oh, I worked at this newspaper, and then I worked at IGN for 8 years, and now I do this. Like my timeline's very simple, where yours is all crazy. Like, How hard was it to keep going? I imagine there's periods, right, between jobs and this, that, and the other. And freelance is a tough fucking life, and we don't talk about that a lot. Like, how has it been? That's not a misnomer on my side, I imagine, but has it been tough? And then how do you keep going through it?
It's definitely tough. There's been periods where I haven't worked for months at a time, where you're like looking for the next thing, for the next fit. What's the right thing? You kind of just got to let your passion lead you. And a lot of people probably ask you guys the same thing they ask me. How did you get into games media? How do I get into games media? It's probably the most common question you get from fans, right? And I say, you only get into it if you wake up every morning and this is what you want to do. It never wavers. You're always wanting to do it. It's like the primary thing that you think about. If it's like I like doing this on the side, then this isn't for you. And for me, like, I always knew I wanted to be on camera. I always knew I wanted to perform and be somebody who's out there interviewing people. I love doing interviews with devs and with people like you guys. And I can't imagine not doing it. And that was really like the driving force for me to continue on. And I think that there were times in my career where I wasn't happy with a specific role that I was given. But I look back and go, you know what? Everything gave me knowledge or an experience that was overall really valuable to where I'm at today. So, I mean, yeah, it's hard. It's hard not having a paycheck and, having to like dip into your savings and put things on credit cards and go, man, I really hope I get a paycheck next month. That's tough. I mean, you have to be really strategic about saving and being financially smart and going, oh, hey, it's slim pickings right now. Maybe I don't go out to eat this week or this month. Maybe I don't go to that movie or to that concert, or you just got to kind of really trim back what you're doing. Like, that's the life of being a freelancer. It's like really having control over your spending. And then, because the phrase is feast or famine. When you are freelance, like when the work is there, like right now, I mean, like I'm working all the time, but like 6 months ago, I wasn't working at all. So that's just the way it is.
Have you ever thought about kind of going the route we did? We're in a different position just because like we're a group and we're doing this stuff, but there's so many people that are doing the like single person influencer stuff, and a lot of them are Twitch streamers or this or that. Have you ever thought about that?
I have. A lot of people have asked me, why don't I stream? Why am I not on Twitch? And I look at the most successful streamers, and it is a full-time job for them. Like, they're streaming 5 to 7 days a week sometimes 3, 5, 8 hours at a time. And I just don't have that in me. Mostly because for me, gaming, when I actually sit down and play a game, is more of a private experience. And when you're on Twitch, you're sharing your experience with up to thousands of people at a time, and you need to be interacting with them. And to be successful, you really need to stick to a schedule. And for me, with the kinds of companies I'm working with, my schedule is all over the place all the time. And I could never really find a set schedule. I mean, look at your guys' like the success you've had, and it's because you're very like regimented. You're like, hey, we got Colin and Greg live in the morning, and we've got the Gamescast on this day, and your programming is set so your fans know, like, hey, when I'm ready for my kind of funny, I just know exactly where to go, when to get it. And I wasn't ready to commit that kind of time to it, and that's really why I haven't done anything like solo. And I think that for me, even though I have the skill set to do some of that stuff, there are so many more talented people that could edit better than I could edit, that could do, like video production better than me, that could help me with, the technical back end of what it means to be able to do like gameplay streaming and things like that. And that's what's so beneficial about your guys' team, is that you have that really well-rounded, skill set. Yeah, definitely. I will say though that I don't completely agree with that, because like you're one of the few people that, for as long as I've been doing this, you've been hustling like hard. That's always true. You're always there. You're at every event I go to. You're doing all of this stuff. And what's cool about you is, even when I was with IGN, we'd go and then we have the Greg and Colin would be on camera. I'd be behind the camera shooting whatever. And then I'd give it to someone else and they'd edit. You were there and you were doing all that stuff. And it's like, maybe there was a camera guy with you, like following you around, whatever. But then when we go back to the war room and I'm handing the card off to someone else, he's handing the card to you and you're editing it and you're putting it up and stuff. And it's like, I've always been like, man, like she could just do this herself. Like I feel like you have so many skills, and yeah, people could do it better, better editor or better, whatever it is, like production stuff. But it's like,
I think you're underselling yourself in the sense that you are, to say you're good enough is definitely an understatement. I think you have all that it takes to like really knock it out of the park. And like your hustling ability is second to none. And I respect the shit out of that.
Well, thank you. That's very, very kind of you to say. I appreciate that, but I can't take full credit. I've worked with some really amazing people over the years and some really fantastic production people who have been crucial to my success. So I appreciate that, but I cannot take full credit, as I've said. But I think when it comes down to it, I just can't manage it all. And I don't want to manage it all because I tried that. I tried the one-man band like a lot of people out there are doing now, which hats off to them. I wish them the best of luck. But any successful YouTuber, influencer, or streamer will tell you it's a shit ton of work. We're talking like 10 to 15 hours minimum a day, 6 days or more a week. Like I mean, you guys know it's so much work.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm at an age now where I'm like, you know what? Sometimes it's okay to not work. It's okay to like spend time with your family and spend time with your friends and have a life outside of your career. Career is super important for me. It has been for a really long time. But now I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to like scale back how much I'm doing and let other people kind of take that baton. And it's okay if I don't have a hand in every single pot anymore.
So my question is in that you're scaling back, letting the next generation come up. Somebody's watching right now. They want to be a freelance host. They wake up thinking about video games every day. What should be in their toolbox in terms of, do they have to make a demo reel, vlogs? Like I can tell you how to, be a goon on the internet like us, but I don't know how to do it in terms of like, I'd like to one day work with Playboy or do this kind of job with Yahoo. I don't know how you build a portfolio or build a skill set like that.
Well, if you want to be a professional host, you have to have training first and foremost. Like I highly recommend to people who want to do something professionally to either have some kind of communications or journalism degree. That's like the bedrock, because a lot of these multi-million-dollar media companies won't even consider you if you don't even have a BA. You don't need to have like a master's degree, but like a 4-year education is very important for a variety of reasons. And then like additional training, improv classes were essential for me. I did improv in high school all the way through post-college. That's like so important if you're going to be doing any kind of interviewing on camera. On-camera training is important. But a lot of people who want to get into on-camera don't realize that certain things, like you do things on camera. You move your arms in a certain way, your face in a certain way. You do certain things with your head or with your voice. And you don't realize that until you actually start training with someone who's like, hey, you do this thing where you flap your arms when you're talking on camera. That was my thing. One of my hosting instructors was like, what's with the turkey arm? It's like, you're flapping your wings. And I something like I didn't realize until I worked with a professional, consultant about trying to get better. And I think that's really important. I think practice. Like you can't practice enough. Practice reading. If you want to host on camera, grab a magazine or a book and just read it out loud and like practice like reading it in different ways and figuring out why it sounds different and just like little things like that that are super important. And now with the way that online digital media is, you can use your webcam or even your cell phone to do vlogs. Sure. That's a great way to start getting used to looking at camera and what that means to look at camera, because a lot of people sometimes will just move their eyes around. Just little things like that is super important if you want to go down that road.
There you go. That's a great end to that topic. Where can they find you?
I'm in a variety of places, but the best place is just to follow me on Twitter at Andrea Rene. That's where I post links to stuff that I'm doing both on Playboy, Yahoo, or GameStop. I do have a website and a Facebook fan page, and an Instagram, and I'm on Twitch, but I'm not really, I don't actively post on all of those. I'm the most active on Twitter. So that's the best place to find me.
So check out Gamer Next Door on Playboy. Check out esports.yahoo.com. Yahoo.com. All that stuff, and follow her on Twitter. Greg.
Yeah.
Topic 3. We're doing something a little bit different
That's
today.
right. I'm a very big fan of Lego Dimensions. I don't know if I've told you about this.
A couple times. There's a lot of Let's Plays.
I was super excited. There are a lot of Let's Plays here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. So Wave 4 just came out. Wave 5 is in May, but that's all we know.
Okay.
So I wanted to grab somebody over there at TT Games, hug them tight, thank them for making the game, and then ask them what the fuck comes next. And so when I said that, a whole bunch of people turned me down, but Mark Warburton, he accepted the challenge to come in, talk about what's happening, what the hell's going on, and where's Harry Potter.
Your close personal friend, Mark.
My close personal friend, Mark. We follow each other on Twitter. I think we met once at Comic-Con during the Doctor Who event.
You think?
Let's see.
I mean,
now.
a lot of people.
Let's see
Andrea.
the interview. Roll the clip, Kevin.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with the one and only Mark Warburton. Hi, Mark.
Hello, how are you, my good man?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's the end of our day here, so I'm looking forward to just putting my feet up and trying to relax for the rest of the evening.
Understandable. It's an understandable move. You should do that. But first, I have to give you the whole rundown of LEGO Dimensions. I don't know if you're aware. I'm a big LEGO Dimension fan. Are you aware of this?
Yes, I've seen quite a few of your tweets that have gone on. It's been great to see. Actually, it's been really nice to have such a big fan in our corner. So thank you very much for that.
Yes, congratulations. Good job on the game. It's been a huge pain in my ass for my wallet, so I want to yell at you for that to start with. But I'm still mystified. Not mystified, I guess, because I get it, but it's so surprising that it caught me, that I got the bug for LEGO Dimensions, because really I had never given Toys to Life any kind of credence. I played Disney Infinity here, saw this with Skylanders. I respected what they were doing, but I knew they weren't for me. And when you guys announced LEGO Dimensions and then hinted at Ghostbusters and Superman, that's when I was like, well, I'm going to buy these things, but I'm sure it's going to be a kid game and da-da-da. But then I sat down and played it, and at demos, and then you had you guys over, and then when I got the final version, there's so much fan service in this game. Thank you so much for making it.
No, it was our pleasure. I mean, that's the key. It was always going to be a game about fan service. I mean, we're fans. That's the key to everything we do. We love these properties. We love Ghostbusters and Superman, and we grew up with them. Like Doctor Who, I grew up watching Doctor Who, so to actually get to make a game about it, play around in that world is an incredible honor. And it was just so much fun. I mean, you say you work on a game. Well, this didn't actually feel like work at all. It was fun from day one until we put it on the shelves, and it continues to be fun for us to work on.
And that's what I want to talk a bit about because I've talked about the game, people have seen the Let's Plays, all that different stuff. For me, with LEGO Dimensions and having you in this opportunity, thank you so much for your time. What is it doing for you guys? I'm not looking for sales numbers, but I mean, is it exceeding what you expected it to do? Because it was coming up on it, there was already that conversation of like, well, there's already so many things vying for the Toys to Life market. Can this one survive? And it seems like it's done well when I see NPD or I see numbers.
It's unbelievably thrilled. Oh, I can't even get my words out.
You're so happy about it.
We were so happy, but I mean, I think for me, as soon as we released and my Twitter started getting really, blown up, I think is the term.
Yes,
with kids building their own gateways and sending me photos of it, and it was like, this is something else. This is something a little bit different from what we're used to. And then you start interacting a little bit more, and more people start talking about it to you. It was just great. It's been a continuous exceeding of expectations for us, and we're so happy that we've got to go on this journey and continue with it.
So with what's happened, and I guess it finding an audience, it doing all these different things, has it changed the course of TT games? Because I always thought about it when it was coming up that if LEGO Dimensions hits, it's not the death of, but it becomes this conversation internally of like, well, are we going to still make, there's this property we have. Do we want to make a traditional LEGO game for it, or do we want to put it into LEGO Dimensions? Is that me being newbie and not understanding the business? Is there really conversations like that happen?
No, I mean, I think you're right to ask that question. But really, it's not really something that we've discussed as such. Our business has always been those core titles. I mean, we've got Star Wars The Force Awakens coming out this year, which they dropped a trailer for today, and it looks great. And those are things we'll always continue to do. We did Avengers earlier on in the year, which was another Arthur Parsons game, which we was really pleased of. I loved it to bits. So it's great that we can try something new, and we're in that position where we can try something new. LEGO Dimensions, it was a new thing for us. Technology, Toys to Life, completely different brands across the road. We had the opportunity to do that, and we can continue doing the games that we've always done, people love. At the same time, it's a really good position that we've put ourselves in.
So going forward, so now that Star Wars, you're doing this, you're back with Star Wars, which is crazy. I never thought I'd see that happen. When you guys announced that, I was like, I did not see that one coming. Is it one of those that then, as one of the LEGO Dimensions guys, do you then look at that and then start trying to figure out if you want to do a world for them, a dimension for them, some kind of level pack or whatever? I
was just so excited when they showed that off. I mean, I am a fanboy first and foremost. I mean, that's kind of, I love games, and I was a big fan of TT before I even joined the company. So when these games start being developed, I really try and stay away from the ones I'm not working on. Yeah. I just know, like when Arthur was doing Avengers, I could see it in the corner of the room. So I just no, turn it off. I don't want to. I want to see it when it's finished and I can sit down and enjoy it and play. And it's the same with Star Wars. I can see them developing it, and it's just like, that looks great. Don't show it to me. I want to be a fan. I want to enjoy it like everybody else. And, you know, it's a good place to be in because there's so many creative people in that place, and we do have different games on the go, and it's really rewarding because people can, you know, look at different ways to do the games and different ideas, and we've got different game directors who all have their own strengths. It's a real symbiotic relationship that we've got going on. It's a lot of fun.
You're dodging questions, Mark. What is next for LEGO Dimensions? That's what I'm asking. I want to know how what happens with these level packs. You just put out Wave 4. All we know after this is Wave 5 with Slimer. What happens next, God damn it?
Well, let's see. Lord Vortex goes on a holiday. I think I might join him. No, you know what? Obviously, we've said from the off, we don't want this to be a one-shot thing. We don't intend LEGO Dimensions to, you know, just fade away. I hope not anyway, because it's my job rides on it. You know, we really want this to be, well, we built a system, in effect. We want something that is under your TV and stays there for a long, long time, and we can keep adding on and putting more content on whenever we want and whenever we see fit. That's, you know, why we've got the upgrade, we got the download system, we did everything we could so we can continue to add to the experience as much as we possibly want to and can. And that's certainly something that people will see in the coming months.
And that's what I liked a lot about it when you guys came out, you know, and you were talking about LEGO Dimensions. What you kept saying is that, you know, the portal's good for, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you said 3 years, right? Like, you're not going to nickel and dime everybody. There's not, you know, if there is another LEGO Dimensions disc-based game somewhere on the line, who would expect it? That you would still have the right portal for it. You wouldn't need to get something else. So clearly you guys are invested in the future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it was always about trying to develop the technology that lived up to that vision in a way. You know, we tried as best we can. I think we succeeded in making everything that we needed in that hardware to last us for a long, long time. That was very important. You know, I mean, we accept that it was a high asking point to get into LEGO Dimensions. It was, but you got a lot of content in there, and we want you to see that as we progress over the next 2-3 years, that it just continues to add and add and add, and it becomes this massive experience. So
how do you get any work done over there? Because I imagine right now, you're as you know, Wave 5 is coming up. May it's coming out. Wave 4 just came out. As you look towards, you got to start thinking about, well, what's next for you guys? And then I imagine it's got to be a million ideas from movie, TV, books, games. You're just sitting there and you can, is it literally anything? Do you come up with, like, I know you can't talk about going forward, but let's look backwards, right? In terms of what you've done when you have Simpsons and you have Wizard of Oz, and granted, I think, you know, the superheroes are a bit easier because of relationship and everything else. But looking back with those, like, even maybe from the planning purpose, was it simply, we want to go do this, we want to get this property, and then you guys then talk to a lawyer who then went and talked to their, like, I don't understand how you go and get these Doctor Who properties and bring them in.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, it doesn't feel real still when you think of who we've actually got. Yeah, you know, the Doctor Who one was a huge thing for me personally as well. I think, personally, when we talk to them, we've got 11 years worth of games behind us now. You know, it's 11 years since the original Lego Star Wars came out. And
God, I feel old.
Yeah, tell me about it. Although I seem to be aging faster than some of the people who actually worked on that game, which is really but yeah, so people know what we're about. They know we can take these properties and these brands and make it into something that's fun and pays respect to what it is. You know, we're not going to take the mick. We're not going to make Batman do something he would never in a million years do in a comic book or something like that. It'll be funny, it will be cheeky, but it pays respect to the brand. So when we go into these meetings with someone we've never worked before, the likes of Fox or Sony or someone like that, we can say, look, this is what we're about. These are the games we make, and these are the games we want you to be a part of. Do you want to come on this ride with us? And we was very, very lucky with the Dimensions that everyone just seemed to say, yeah, sign us up.
Yeah, I think, you know, it speaks to your track record, right? That I think everyone knows Lego games. Even if they haven't played them, they know about them in some respect. That they're well respected, they've been around forever, and people enjoy them. So yeah, why not get on board and why not get behind this?
That's what we hope, you know, and it seems to have paid dividends for us. I mean, as you say, everyone's heard of the Lego games. Everyone's heard of Lego. Everyone's stepped on it in the middle of the night and cursed it. I have. But it's great. It's just anything. You can make anything out of Lego, and it just becomes something fun and unique And that's what's great about it. And we can take things like Simpsons or Back to the Future, which you'd never see together in the same game. As soon as it's in Lego form, it just works and makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is your community. Like, when you guys went out in this, did you expect there to be a community that rose up around it? Because, I've been on the Toys for Games podcast. They were already going. I didn't even think about the subsection of Toys to Life games and how they'd be there, let alone then taking your Lego fans, adding them to it, and seeing how they all go. It seems like there's a vibrant Dimensions community that does tweet you photos of their builds and does, put up Let's Plays and does all this stuff. Were you aware you were getting in that, or is that just the natural progression of what the Lego community already was and I just was ignorant to?
Yeah, we are in quite a strong community, which was great. I mean, there's a few people who tweet us religiously about all things Lego, but then Dimensions seemed to take it to another level, and it was just insane. I mean, that's the only way you can really describe it. You just daily bombarded with messages, and it was great. It's so much fun and rewarding to see people, and I think it was always nice when parents would get in touch to say, our kids have played the game, our kids have enjoyed the game. That's great, and it's always nice to get involved with the community as much as you can, because that's who we make the games for.
And for me, I think, what I want to talk to you about is hire a hero mode. Was that something you guys had planned for, or was it based on the reaction when people got their hands in the game? Because, of course, if you're watching this, you don't know hire hero. You run into things you can beat Lego Dimensions with the starter pack. You can get the platinum with the starter pack, but you do run into things in the game world that are like, well, if you wanted 100% the game, the in-game world, you need the Wicked Witch here to get into this thing, and if you don't have her, you can't use it. Until it seemed like you guys responded and put that in there. Is that how it happened?
Yeah, so I mean, we had considered it during development. We considered something along those lines, and it had been sort of paper written down, and then the community spoke. They sort of said what they liked about the game, didn't like, so we reacted accordingly. There's no point in working on something we intend, as we said before, for many, many years. If people are really saying they're unhappy with something, we go in, we try and change it, and that's why we built it as a system. So we can change it, we can make alterations and make people as happy as they can be.
Is that like the benefit you think to building a platform rather than a game this time around?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. We can constantly look at it and see exactly what's going on. We can see what people are saying about it. If they're having problems or they're getting stuck. I mean, games, people still hit issues, and we've got to address that. We've got to really make it the most seamless experience it possibly can be. So building it in this way, we can continue to support it and really make it something very worthwhile and very special.
Now, I'm dropping my interviewer title and putting on my fan hat. Would you like a way to drive a whole bunch of people back into the game and get them really excited about the game again?
Always, yes.
All right,
yes.
Here's what you do. Yeah. I don't know if you got time. I don't know if you have enough time for Wave 5, but whatever Wave 6 is, whatever Lego Dimensions 2 is, whatever the hell you're working on that you won't talk about because you're a jerk. What you do when you do that is you put out, how you have all the DLC trophies and achievements you add in there.
Yes. Add
in a ton of them for every one of the worlds. Give me a reason to go back into the different dimension hubs and do all the stuff. Because for me, like I platinum Lego Avengers and I've platinum obviously all the Lego Batman games I could. When I go in there, I get excited that I'm about to do like a 30-hour experience of going through and having to get every gold brick and having to do every race and having to do that. And for me with Dimensions, platinum Dimensions, and then I felt, and granted, this is just video games being broken for me because of trophies. I, felt like I didn't have that reason to go into the DC Comics world and do everything other than being a fan. So, I tinkered around, but I never got lost in it. And I'm just saying, you go in there, you toss in a gold trophy on every one of these worlds for doing 100%. You got people in there playing for hours, tweeting you more photos. It's an easy win, except for all the money you waste putting trophies back into the game.
Well, so now comes the technical issue. So we have actually got achievements in all the level packs.
Oh yeah, no, I know that there's trophies in the level packs. So yes.
But you're limited to the amount of gamer score you can do per year on the consoles. So we have to find a way to distribute that over the life cycle of the project rather than individually. So that's why we have the number we do. Believe me, there was like a huge list of achievements originally, and it's just technical limitations of the systems. It's great, if we could get around it, absolutely would. And I think I'm an achievement hunter as well. I love doing it. I was playing the original Sonic the Hedgehog on my PS3 just before this call, just to try and get that last trophy.
That's true.
But it's one of those things. Microsoft, Sony, if you can increase the limits, then we'll absolutely do it.
All right, I'll hit up Shuhei Yoshida. I can get you on Sony.
Yes, please do. And tell him to get that PS Vita back going as well.
No, the Vita is alive and well, sir. I'll have you know. Thanks to games like Lego Avengers finally having a hub world, and you get to go around to do all the free roaming stuff. Salt Sanctuary is eventually coming. Axiom Verge is coming.
I adore the Vita. I absolutely did. I got it day one, and it goes with me absolutely everywhere. And the redesign that they've done on the slim version is just even better. So yeah, I really hope Sony continue with that for the long haul. I love it.
I always knew,
especially now PS Now is on it.
Yes. Yeah. No, the Vita, it's gonna be this for the rest of its life, but that's enough for me. I get some trophies. I get to play some cool indie games. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
So, Mark, when do we hear from you guys? Are you going to wait till Wave 5 is out and done, and then months later talk about what's next or what you're going to do? Or like, how much long do I have to wait till E3? Like, and I know you can't tell me the right date, but tell me when something's coming. Where's Harry Potter? Thank you.
Harry Potter. Wow. Did you play the original 2 games?
Hell yeah. Yes, I loved them. I reviewed them.
Yeah, that was my first game at TT, the first Harry Potter.
Oh, very well. I assume you did everything on it, so good job.
No. That was an Arthur game through and through.
And Arthur Parsons, always trying to get all the credit.
Well, he deserves it. It's very well earned.
He's awesome.
He's a great guy. Yeah, I mean, who knows when we're going to talk about it? Obviously we'll be at E3 for one thing or another, so maybe then, maybe not. I couldn't possibly comment.
I hate you. I dislike that because it's got to be coming. You guys did such a good job of, getting, we're talking about things that are coming in May, which awkwardly is right before E3, and I'm sure it was part of your plan. So you get to go there, and you get to announce LEGO Dimensions 2, and hear all things. Or you don't announce LEGO Dimensions 2, and you just announce a bunch of level packs and team packs and stuff, and that's cool too. But I just want to know when it's coming so I can get more excited. And this is back to the community thing, that you've built a fan base like this. I'm going over to the brickinquirer.com. I'm looking to see what leaks they got. Like, this is what you've reduced me to this, Mark.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the thing is, people know they don't tell me these things because I have the worst reputation for just talking. I'm such a fanboy that I'll just talk to anyone about anything at any time. And I think people have learned that lesson now, so they don't tell me anything until I absolutely have to know.
Okay, well then let's do this then. You know nothing. Good. That's what I like that.
People tell me that daily anyway, so,
and there's people on the street. They're just your barista. Yeah.
You know nothing. It's just, okay.
Thanks.
Enough.
Sorry, I'll get out of the road.
Yeah.
Doctor Who is a dream for you. What are other dreams you'd love to see put into Lego?
It was the two, because I'm a big Doctor Who fan, and I'm a huge Superman fan.
Yeah.
So messing with him in any way, shape, or form was just a dream come true. One of the privileges I had when I started on the project, it was actually my first time over in LA. So I went to the DC offices and met them, and I was just a quivering wreck.
Yeah,
it was. They were showing me around the offices and all these comic books and stuff that I grew up with. The fan, I was just like, this is nuts. It's like, right, stop. Try and be professional. You're here to do a job. Oh my God, it's Superman versus Muhammad Ali issue. fail all across.
Yeah. You can't pull it together sometimes.
Yeah, it was great. And then other things start coming through, like Bob Gale was at E3, talking about Back to the Future. I just thought, this is insane. And then we do a sound record the week later with Gary Oldman.
Wow.
And it's just what is going on here? And I think my highlight personally was we got J.K. Simmons to do the Portal stuff the day after he won his Oscar.
Wow.
It's just that's crazy. That really is. I do say though, I still have a problem with Arthur getting Kevin Smith for like a Batman 3 because I'm a big Kevin Smith fan.
Sure, us too.
And I would have loved to have got him for Dimensions, but Arthur went and swiped him instead.
You can still get him. You can do it'll be very aged up for your demographic, but you could do the View Askew universe.
I would love to.
Right?
That would be awesome. Bluntman and Chronic in Lego Dimensions. It'd be so good.
A lot of adults are playing this. It's an expensive game, Like, I see it all the time. All my friends, all the best friends out there from Kind of Funny, they tweet me. I know I got Trevor Starkey on this, and he's got, units and units built up.
It's weird because, so we do get a lot of messages from adults saying, put this into the game. It's like, that's not really our demographic. That might be a little bit different. Thank you for the suggestion, but no, we'll stick with someone else. But yeah, I'd love to do anything with Kevin Smith, to be honest with you, and it's great. I mean, the dimensions just you can't help but tripping over amazing properties, and that's the cool thing. I mean, Simpsons, it's the Simpsons. It's the culture of everybody, and we got to play around with it. It was brilliant.
All right, so then I got 2 for you that you need to chase.
Okay.
Number one, I mean, my honorable mention, but I'm sure it's in the bag, is Harry Potter. But I'm sure you're already working on that. You already did these Harry Potter games. You know the universe. You got the assets. You just copy and paste. There you go. You made a game. But the 2 you
don't forget, that's older consoles.
Yeah, I know. You upres them. It's easy. You put more shine on them, more pixels in there. It's simple.
Now you sound like a producer, and that's usually what I say when I go and ask the art people, and then they throw something at me. So
just tighten up the graphics on level 3. It's simple.
Do this? Can't you do that? No, that takes a week's work. Well, no.
So the two, what I loved, I think the level pack that was awesome. Doesn't get enough love is Lego or Portal 2, the Portal Dimension. The Portal Dimension was awesome, and I was a big fan of it. And I'd love to see more crossover content with you and other video games. That's why, and I'm going to take credit for it when it one day eventually has to happen. I demand Uncharted. Neil Druckmann was tweeting about Dimensions, and I connected him with you guys, and I've never talked to anyone about it. I assume Lego Uncharted is happening because of Greg Miller. Make it happen. Thank you, Kevin.
I saw that tweet, and I was like, oh my goodness. I was just like, I kept thinking, should I tweet him back and say, only if you give me a copy of Uncharted 4? No, but those are all discussions with the lawyers going. That'd be great. And I think the cool thing about Portal as well is, I mean, Valve are the masters of video games. There's no other way you can describe them. They know storytelling a video game, and everything they touch is just good. That's all it is. And then for them to say, yeah, okay, you can take our property and put it into yours and do what you want to do with it, was just like, is this actually happening? Is this real? When's the other shoe going to drop? And it was great because we got to get all the characters back that they'd used in the Portal games, and get them to do new lines, UVO, and what an amazing experience. And if something else comes up with other game franchises, then yeah, it'd be great.
In my second, don't try to get out of this yet because I'm pinning you down. This one I've done no work on, but I think would work really well for you is The Witcher. The Witcher's got a huge fan base. It's a huge world. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings. Just copy those assets over, make a little Geralt and a Triss, and the other one. There you go. You got a game.
We did just talk about adult content in video games.
Well, you don't have to. Okay, sure. There's adult content in Portal. You know what I mean? They talk and they make references and jokes. You don't have to put the Witcher sex in there. You don't have to have any of that.
What? So we don't collect Lego cards? When no. Let's leave that one way alone. The Witcher's brilliant. I love The Witcher, and I think my boss has actually been amazing as well. They did a terrific job with that as well. I think the thing with Dimensions is, you're saying it now, we can go anywhere. We literally can go anywhere, and it just sort of makes sense because of the story we've done. So I don't know. Who knows what comes next?
All right, Mark. You're a real piece of garbage giving me no solid leads here. But thank you so much for talking to us today.
I'll try my best, and hopefully if we run into each other at E3, I can give you a few more secrets.
There you go. Yeah, whisper it all in my ear. I was the first person to ever have Superman, remember? I had
Yes, you was. Yeah, that was
months early.
Oh, that's what happens when you're such a fan.
Well, thank you, and it's easy to be a fan of you guys. You do so much great work, so thank you for everything you're doing, and tell the whole team they've been great.
Thank you very much. Keep on going with the podcast as well. We all listen to them religiously, so Kind of Funny's a staple of the office. So please continue with that as well.
Will do, Mark. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Greg,
yeah,
that was cool.
Thank you.
So, Harry Potter.
It's gonna happen, guaranteed.
My brother's not quite juiced about that.
He's not?
Well, not that it's not happening now.
There's no way it's not happening, because I mentioned in the interview brickinquirer.com, of course, my go-to source for Lego Dimension news, right?
He's an addict.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a fan site all about Lego Dimensions. So you better goddamn believe I'm all over it. What up, Brick Inquirer? And they had the leaked list with but it was all like code words, like abbreviations, and there was an HP in there.
Oh.
And again, they've made the Harry Potter games. It's a Warner Brothers franchise. That's easy. That's gold. They're gonna do that. And then, like I said, when Uncharted happens, everybody, that's because of me. I hooked Neil up with TT Games. It's because of me. Thank you.
Inquirer.
Brickinquirer.com
is a website.
Yes.
Do you know what that website was built in?
No. Maybe
I hope
Squarespace?
It was Squarespace, because this topic is brought to you by Squarespace. Building a website can be tough. And even if you do know your way around coding, creating something that looks good and works well is a time-consuming affair. Whether it's for a business site, a portfolio, a restaurant, or whatever else, in this day and age, you probably need one anyway. Lucky for us. Squarespace makes it easy to build beautiful websites without breaking a sweat. Squarespace provides simple, powerful, and beautiful websites that look professionally designed regardless of skill level, no coding required. Not only does Squarespace provide you with intuitive and easy-to-use tools to create your website with, they also have state-of-the-art technology powering your site to ensure security and stability. And you know you can trust in Squarespace when millions of brands have used them, including our original site, kindafunny.com.
Word.
Seriously, you can't beat the ease and simplicity of Squarespace. They give you 24/7 online support and a beautiful website. So what are you waiting for? Start a trial with no credit card required and start building your website today. You can make a fan site for whatever you want, and Greg will follow it because he's what?
That's not true. I won't follow every
Anything.
fan. If you make a Lego Dimensions site,
Game Over Greggy, your fan site that you made on Squarespace. I'm using promo code Kinda Funny to get 10% off your first purchase and show support for Kinda Funny Games. We thank Squarespace for the support.
I'm on brickinquirer.com.
Build it beautiful.
I'm on here. Jason Greer runs it here. This here. I'll go back to the front page. It looks like it could be a Squarespace site because it's beautiful.
It looks like it was built beautiful.
It does look like it was built beautifully.
Good.
It's got a blog roll.
What was the other
It's
tagline?
optimized very nicely for mobile.
You should.
The security on it seems airtight. All right. Topic 4, as always, brought to you by the Kinda Funny forums. Go to kindafunny.com/Gamescast topic to leave your questions, and we'll get to them at some point, just like we're doing right now with Morton Joe. He says, "Amigos,
Read the whole thing.
how are you?" My
¿Cómo
question
estás?
is simple. We talk all the time about games that make us sad, happy, laugh, or cry, but have you ever played a game or came across something in a game that has offended you? Don't think so.
That's offended me?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Like what?
All of GTA 5?
Really?
Really?
Listen, I'm in a camp that I don't play GTA anymore. The one GTA that I went all in on was Vice City, but now I started it and I had to stop because I couldn't deal. It's just not for me. It's just like, I get that a lot of video games have violence. I play violent games myself, but like the way that GTA handles it, I just don't like. Just don't like it.
So it's the violence of it. Like what?
Yeah.
Like Trevor when he's hitting
No, the
people?
idea that like you're rewarded for,
Oh, your
essentially
actions.
like murdering women in the game. I mean, you murder guys in the game too, to be fair. I'm not trying to be sexist. The internet will explode if I don't recognize that you also murder men in that game. But for me, I just I don't know. I just don't like it.
What about you, Call?
I don't really get offended by fiction, I guess, but things that are thought provoking to me, I still think Spec Ops is a great example of you're killing American soldiers. Not to say that their lives are any more or less valuable than anyone else, but it's just not a perspective that we have a lot. And so when you hear them chattering to each other, speaking American English to each other, and you're just lighting them up, it's just a different perspective that was thought provoking. I don't think I was offended by it, but I was like, I've never killed American soldiers in a game really before. I've killed Nazis and other people, as like
faceless soldier guy.
But not dudes like talking to each other in a hallway about like their family or whatever and going home and you're just capping them in the back of the head. It was certainly an interesting perspective. I assume it's a similar thing that people in other countries playing games where you're killing, like I'm not saying, like if you're a German and you're playing a World War II shooter, not that you're a Nazi, obviously you aren't, but you are killing people that, are maybe somehow related to you, speaking your language, you can understand them, like that was that came to mind instantly when you said that. Was I wasn't offended by it at all. I love that they did that. But yeah, that was certainly a thought-provoking and unique experience.
Correct.
Yeah, I've been offended lots of times. Gone Home, Firewatch, Metal Gear Solid 5, the Ground Zeroes. Where are the fucking platinum trophies? Like, it's an insult. It's offensive, and it's a goddamn insult that these fucking games don't have platinums. And they can get the fuck out of here with this shit.
My God.
Steve Gaynor.
You're out of control with the Gone Home
you
platinum.
really are.
How can you Gone Home? Gone Home doesn't deserve a platinum. I love platinum
Taco
trophies.
Master.
I have a bajillion platinum
Did
trophies.
Taco Master.
Yeah, Taco Master probably shouldn't have had one.
But it did, which means the scale's broken, which means Gone Home, which is more of a game. A better game than Taco Master deserves it.
Well, it's a better game than Taco Master. It's shocking.
This isn't about, fixing the system. It's about honoring great games, games that deserve platinums with platinums. That is what a real game has, a platinum trophy. It's not that I'm even mad at Steve Gaynor. I'm disappointed in him.
My God, Greg, you're a monster. And I appreciate that. Bez87 has a really long question that I'm just going to kind of boil down here. Hello, best friends. My question is, when are we going to see the death of in-game loading? I feel like in this day and age, loading shouldn't be an issue anymore, but playing Bloodborne, there's a lot of loading. GTA got it right by loading the game at the start, but then there's still a lot more. Blah, blah, blah. When's loading going away?
Never.
Yeah. That's just how games work.
Yeah,
right?
it's not going to go away, but it will get better, and the games are doing it and optimizing in different ways. I think The Division is a great example of a game that doesn't typically load. It takes a long time to get into the game and then load the game, but the game does run pretty seamlessly when you're going in and out of buildings and in and out of quests and stuff like that.
It does a really good job, right? When you go into your HQ, that when you suddenly can't run anymore and like your friends disappear, that's because it's loading your instance, your hub world, and then back out to the
only game that stands out to me as the one game I recognize as never seen a loading screen is God of War. Like that's it.
And again, it's because they hide them really well.
It's not, you're cutting through the rocks and stuff.
Well, that's what we're talking about, right? Not like those epic Skyrim loading screens that you spend the whole time playing, right? Yeah. So I think it's a simple question. It's
the thing about it is load exists because of how big the game is, right, and how competent the machine is. But when the machine gets better, the games get bigger. Yep. That's the whole thing. You're not going to ever see it go away because they're always going to be chasing each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just about hiding it properly and not, like Bloodborne's a great example. I know that they patched it and made it better, but when Bloodborne came out, the load times in Bloodborne were fucking absurd. Like it wasn't even long, or like I was like, you could literally go take a shower like during these load times. And this is a game where you're supposed to die hundreds of times, and I'm sitting here for minutes and minutes at a time like waiting. I was like, how did you ship the game like this?
Yeah.
A game like that was really for what I thought was a pretty great game. I was like, that's insane. I mean, I couldn't believe the load times in that. So it is unimmersive.
Rise of the Tomb Raider did really well. Their loads were quick. If you died, you instantly were right back in it.
Mm-hmm. So back in the day, like before CD games, like all the cart-based stuff, there was no loading at all, right? Was there any cart game that had loading?
No. Not that I can think of.
Yeah, but we're never going back there. Unless Nintendo brings it back with the NX.
X can give it to you.
Next question comes from AP Newman. If console exclusives went to PC, how do you think it would affect console hardware sales? And is there a loss of sale overall?
You're going to find out with Xbox One.
Yeah, we're seeing it now.
I still think these there's a Venn diagram overlap of these audiences, but I do think that it's obviously going to erode sales. I think Xbox One is going to be the litmus test now with Quantum Break, which wasn't going to sell very well to begin with, but
not because it's bad.
Not because it's bad, because it's just not going to sell very well. It's the same thing with like Sunset.
It's just like a weird idea.
Yeah, and it's just not it's not Halo or Gears or whatever. So it's not like I don't know that they have a lot of expectations for it, but the proof will be in the pudding with that soon, because they're certainly taking a different mark than PlayStation, which still hasn't put a first party Sony published game on PC. They put second party Sony published games on PC, but none of the first party. So until that happens, until you see an Uncharted or a God of War or a Bloodborne or something like that on, and we're not going to know. We're not going to have like an apples to apples comparison between the consoles. But my assumption is it's not going to affect it as much as people think.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to affect it at all.
But it is important to note that Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider sold way, way, way better on PC. So it could just say that game's audience is there already, or that game's audience knew that it was coming on PC and waited.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be interested to see the Quantum Break numbers.
Clintimus says, hey guys, I have a question about YouTube and creating content around games. I know you've covered this subject before on the Game Over Greggy's show, but I was hoping that you might go into more detail, specifically when it comes to making content for YouTube centered around video games. I have high quality videos on my channel of me let's playing games. They hardly get any views. I spend a lot of time in the description, title tags, etc. I just don't see any results. I thought this was interesting with you here. How do we make content around video games for other people?
The first step, if you're on YouTube, is to read the creator playbook.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
First step, number one, just Google creator playbook and read it front to back.
I think it's just youtube.com/playbook.
Yeah, don't skip any sections. Make sure you're doing all of the best practices that they outline there. That's step number one.
Mm-hmm.
Step number two is making a niche audience. Right now, it's too difficult to do everything. You have to pick something and stick with it and be the best at that one thing. There's just way too much saturation with people trying to be like, I'm going to do a generic gaming channel. It's like it's you and a million other people doing that. So pick like your favorite thing, the thing that you can spend the most amount of time with and won't get sick of and you love. Whether it be Minecraft or Call of Duty or, Destiny or whatever your game of choice is, pick it and stick with it and don't deviate.
I think, even going beyond that, and it's not just games too, because I think a lot of people get hung up on like, all right, it's Minecraft or it's Destiny or whatever. I think that one thing could be video game news or video game reviews. Like you could do everything if reviews are what you're focusing on, or if a news product is what you're doing. Like you look at like the Daily Fix at IGN, or like they're just news shows and stuff. That I think is great if you're into that side of it. If you're into the more just like reporting side and that's what you want to do, I think that's a great thing that not enough people on just like the starting out level are doing. I think a lot of people jump into the Let's Plays and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's such the deep end of the pool, and there's so many people swimming there already.
Specialize in stuff. I mean, like, what you're talking about right now, PS4 trophies, right? When a new game drops and I'm having trouble or I want to know how to get this, I immediately go to that because I know that's what he does. He puts those videos up and they're there. And then it's the same thing with what you're saying is, specialize in something. I mean, we've mentioned Brick and Choir and Toys for Games today, right? Because we're talking about Lego Dimensions and they talk about that, and then they collaborated with me. So do something unique, specialize in something, and collaborate with people, right? Because then you get into the lexicon and their audience and all these different things.
Mm-hmm. And obviously be genuine. I think that's the most important thing. Like no matter what you're doing, is be true to your voice and what you believe and what you actually like. Like I love Nintendo, so I'm going to bring up Nintendo forever, even if Colin, fights me. But it's like that's the fun of it, and like that's kind of the whole point. People come to us because they know that we're gonna do that. And you guys with PlayStation and all the other things that you love. So it's like, and the games, Toys to Life stuff, like you're going to talk about Lego Dimensions even if no one else is. Even if the Let's Plays don't get views, you're going to keep doing them because that's what you want. And
get views, Kevin. Don't worry.
You know what I mean.
He doesn't look worried.
Kevin looks
He looks
half
kind of
asleep.
worried.
He looks like he got clipped by a truck.
He's in a
and
full-on
just,
sugar crash right now.
do you need to go get more candy to keep going?
We're almost done.
Go get some candy, Kev.
Bring the jelly beans in. So did you? Oh, they're here.
God damn it, Kevin.
I love that guy.
All right.
Oh, and there he goes, dropping the beans.
Final question of the day, Colin. This one's for you. I was curious as to why pixel art in games is so expensive and difficult to use. I've looked online and haven't really been able to find a thorough explanation as to exactly why this is. Having played Super Mario World in pixel perfect mode on the new Nintendo 3DS, I've come to appreciate the beauty of the game even more now than I did when it originally came out. That was from Popcorn Shower.
Wait, you mean like buying the art assets?
No, like making them. Like it's way more expensive to make pixel art than it is
So like
to
Street
make
Fighter
like a
5.
model.
And we're always talking about
is
Ega.
3D. Yeah, Egavania and stuff.
Yeah, like Egavania is even 2.5D. So there's multiple reasons why. Like if you look at a game like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which I think is one of the most beautiful games of all time, like easily. These enemies or these characters, so Alucard, for instance, or Dracula, are animated frame by frame with pixel art. So you have to do this by hand basically. And it's super expensive. The other thing that Ega was saying to me, which is interesting when, because I've talked to Ega many times about Bloodstain, which I'm super excited about, is that there's just not that many people anymore that can do it and do it well. So like do it up to that level, because there's a lot of like pixel art, 8-bit or 16-bit inspired or even 32-bit inspired games out there that do pixel art not very well. So he was saying to me that like one of the big problems and why Bloodstain is 2.5D and why Mighty No. 9 is 2.5D, which is not an Ega game, but similar reason, is that it's just really expensive because you have to find people that can do it properly, and it's a dying art. And so these people can demand money and it takes a lot of time, and it might not be worth it. I'm super disappointed that Bloodstain and Mighty No. 9 are both 2.5D, but if they do that because it is just cheaper to make a model that you can then program to animate without having to do it literally frame by frame. So that's kind of a nutshell kind of reason why, but it's even more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
But it's
Hard
beautiful.
and
It takes a lot of work.
expensive.
It's
It is
beautiful.
It's my favorite thing. This episode is brought to you by Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box service for epic geek and gamer items and pop culture gear. For less than $20 a month, you can get 4 to 8 items that include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/KFGames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on any new subscription. Loot Crate is more than just a subscription service. It's an entire community of fans that share their experience and interact with each other around the unboxing of each month's crate. And they guarantee over $40 in value each and every crate. Sometimes it's a lot more. Every month there is a different theme, and all items are curated around that theme. There's been, themes for Zelda and Star Wars. There's the villains one with Porty.
Versus. No, versus.
No.
Mirror, mirror, bearded Spock versus regular Spock.
April's theme is Quest. We're forming a party to explore everywhere from far-off kingdoms to worlds hidden within worlds with exclusive items from Labyrinth, awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Harry Potter, History Channel's Vikings, and Uncharted 4. And of course, we've got our t-shirt and loot pin to help equip you for your adventures. Remember, you only have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it, Jack. It's over. So go to lootcrate.com/KFgames and enter code KFgames to save $3 on your new subscription.
I missed
today.
the Mass Effect
Oh,
exclusive
the
crate,
super crate.
and I had a full-on meltdown. I was like, no.
Christine
so
had me hitting
sad.
up contacts at Loot Crate for that and stuff, and then every day she'd ask me if they'd sent it. I'm like, I'm not gonna bug these people that I barely know.
I would.
You should too. lootcrate.com/KFgames.
Speaking of loot, are we gonna open the swag bag now, or are you guys gonna wait and do that later?
Oh, we can do it now.
Sure.
It could be
Let's
fun.
do that. Let's do that.
So Andrea Renee moved, and now she has all this video game stuff she doesn't want.
No, hold on.
Which is like our entire house as
That's
well.
only part of the story. So I have a lot of stuff that's unopened, stuff that I've gotten from conventions, stuff that, publishers
Sure.
have been kind enough to send to me. And I haven't really had a place to put it. And now that I have a new studio, I realize I just don't have room for this all. And and instead of just randomly, giving it away, I thought I'd bring it to you guys and we could see if, the kind of funny friends wanted to maybe win some stuff.
Of course,
We'll
on Colin and
appreciate
Greg
that.
Live, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Each and every day, we add something to the Friday prize box and then give it away on Friday.
Yeah.
And there's no subscription necessary, though it helps.
So here's a hint at what you might be winning from the swag bag.
This one's already-
It literally says swag bag.
This one's getting given away on Friday, so it's not even worth putting in the
So
video.
that's the whole thing?
Yeah.
Like, that's just
I
one
want to put
piece?
everything we put so far into this
T-shirt
bag.
and a sweatshirt inside that
Oh,
bag.
okay. So it's LA Cops. Oh, wait, what was it? Was that game LA
It
Cops?
was a great indie game, yeah.
Yeah, we did a Let's Play on it a long time ago. That was awesome. All right, we got
What do you got, Santa?
That's a
Call of Duty
1080p
Ghost.
Call of Duty camera.
Well, we'll probably take
a
that.
1080p camera.
Yeah, you might want to keep it.
Kevin loves
This
might
games.
wanna
came, this
keep
came
that.
with this came with the hardened edition of Call of Duty
Oh,
Ghosts, and I've
gotcha,
never used
gotcha.
it.
We got Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection on the PlayStation 4. Oh God,
That is
some Assassin's Creed,
the Hidden Blade.
Hidden
Oh,
Blade.
not that. Well, I mean, it pops
It does
out.
have a crossbow. Yeah.
Oh, okay, my apologies. Kevin knows more. Oh, a PlayStation
faceplate
cover.
for
That
the
is
PS4.
PSX.
that is a custom Street Fighter 5 PS4 faceplate.
I'm not gonna show you.
I'll show it.
It's
You just hand
beautiful.
it over. Don't worry. All right.
We're not giving it away here. Is it?
No, we're just showing it. We're letting people know what's in there.
still-
see?
We got
So
the
that
T-shirt
is-
that she's
That
wearing.
is
Whoa!
the men's version of the T-shirt I'm wearing with Batmax or Bayman. Your choice.
Let's
I don't
go with
know.
Bayman. I'm going with Bayman. We got the Street Fighter 5 Designer Collection book. The Walking Dead complete first season,
Yeah.
plus 400 days on PS4. Season 2,
Yeah. I thought this was all gonna be garbage. There's good stuff in here.
Battlefront on PS4. There's a lot of big stuff in here. There's like bags.
You don't have to
within
show it
bags.
all if you want.
There's some
You
fun
don't
toys
blow
inside that
everything up.
Witcher bag.
We got
So this is actually a large, but it's a ladies' tee because I know you
Oh,
have
nice.
ladies fans as well.
Dungeons and
and like
Dragons.
me, I always have trouble getting good gaming ladies stuff.
Sure.
So
A CD.
Assassin's Creed Unity soundtrack. And then other stuff
Okay.
that we will reveal at a later
Is there
date.
anything I want in there? You think? Has it got some? Should I dig through it on my
There's
own?
no bullshit in here.
Hey! whoa! Hey!
Until next week, make sure that you check us out over on Final Fantasy XV Uncovered.com.
Unless this is Thursday or Friday, because then it's over.
Yeah, but we're going to be streaming Wednesday, March 30th. Watch me and Greg do stuff. Be nice in the chat. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be really, really, really mean to us. So
No, they'll be fine.
just show up and say hi. And until next time, Andrea, thank you so much for being amazing and joining us.
thanks for having me,
Thrice.
guys,
Thank
and thanks
you.
for letting me talk about myself for like 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I
No,
love it.
it's great. Till next time. I love you.